I'm pissed off, and you should be too, because a little while ago, Jon Jones doubled down on the fact that he's ducking Tom Aspinall, regardless of if he keeps fighting following next Saturday's UFC 309 card. I've been harping on this on the channel, mentioning that probably Aspinall Jones never happens because John's not going to want to take that risk. And he has seriously made those claims known to all. Even if he doesn't retire, he mentioned Alex Pereira as opposed to Tom Aspinall. I'm hard on this damn UFC 309 main event as is because Stipe Miocic does not deserve a damn title shot. 3.5 years off, knockout loss to Francis Ngannou. 3 fights before them, he's 2-1, and it's 2 wins over Cormier with a knockout loss to Cormier. That's old era. And we're in a modern 2024 era, nearly closing out the year. And Jon Jones has now told us for sure that he won't fight the interim champ. I want to talk in depth about this by reacting to clips from the interview between Jon Jones and Kevin Iole, which happened today. And I'm honestly disgusted by this. I have never seen a champion so blatantly ducking the true #1 contender, especially an interim champion. If Jon Jones was to disappear and retire after the fact, okay, whatever, that's his decision. But the fact is, he will now stay at heavyweight, have the title, and try and fight Pereira. I guess he's going to vacate the belt and drop to 205. I don't know. Very concerning interview with the Jon Jones situation between him and Aspinall that has me really annoyed. You can probably tell from my tone, I'm not as uppity as normal. I'm frustrated. But listen, we're going to react to some clips between Jones and Iole in this interview from today. And let's elaborate further on everything that's going on. Let's play this first clip, which is about Jon versus Stipe.
A lot of people are questioning why is Stipe getting this fight because he hasn't won a fight in so long and he hasn't fought in quite a long time. Is it because he is widely considered to be the greatest heavyweight of all time? Is that sort of in your thinking when you say, hey, Stipe's the guy I want to fight?
Yeah, they're making the fight because Stipe Miocic's legacy back in the 2010s and him and Jon Jones on a collision course last year would have made sense, right? But now with Tom Aspinall as the interim champion who's defended the belt more than the sitting unified champion, the undisputed champ. I guess it's not unified and it's not really undisputed, but technically the real champ, Jon Jones. Let's listen to Jon Jones' reply.
I feel that it's unfortunate that we live in a world where one bad performance discredits a person so much.
It's not one bad performance to which why we're discrediting Stipe, John. We're discrediting Stipe because he's literally a guy from the old era. He hasn't fought since what, 2021? And it was a vicious knockout loss to Francis Ngannou. This is horrible. This is horrible. Let's keep listening.
You know, Stipe has beat everyone. I mean, Junior Dos Santos, Francis Ngannou, Daniel Cormier, some of the biggest names.
He's beaten some of the biggest names of the old era. You just said Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos hasn't fought in the UFC in a long while. He's well past his prime. He's doing bare knuckle MMA, I believe now. On the opposite side of it, you mentioned Daniel Cormier, who's in his 40s. And then you mentioned Francis Ngannou, who's the last man that just beat Stipe, the last fight that he had, and viciously knocked him out. Yeah, he beat the young and raw Francis Ngannou, who didn't even understand what MMA was. He just knew how to punch people in the face. And he still went 5 rounds and got rocked badly in that fight against the totally unskilled version of Ngannou. And then obviously we saw the result when they fought again. This is unacceptable. Stipe has not beat anybody currently fighting inside of the UFC. He hasn't beat anybody ranked near close to the top 15 in a damn long time. This is the world we're living in. He was fighting in the Reebok fight kits last time out.
Names, you know, many champions he's defeated. And I feel like I'm wise enough to know that one bad night doesn't make a man or break a man. And
the one bad night talk, nobody is sitting here making a stink about it because he lost to Ngannou. If the fight would have happened right after he lost to Francis, if Francis would have somehow left the UFC, I don't think that's what people are griping about. We're talking about 3.5 years. We're talking about a 42-year-old Stipe Miocic. This is crazy to me how there's even an argument. And I understand Jon needs to defend his side, right? He has to sit here and defend why the fight with Stipe is happening, even though it makes essentially zero sense. Let's listen for a couple more seconds if anything essential comes out.
And Stipe is every bit of worthy as my opponent. It's not easy winning championships back to back, especially in the heavyweight division. And what he's done is truly special. And I just want to give the man his opportunity. I know fighting me for a lot of athletes is a really big deal.
What he's done is special. What Chuck Liddell did was special. What Anderson Silva did was special. They're not coming back and fighting. It's like, oh, okay, that's an exaggerated claim. Okay, I guess, kinda. But they're all, 40 plus. And that's where Stipe's at now. He peaked in the 2010s. Come on. This fight is an illegitimate heavyweight championship fight. And Tom Aspinall is being completely disregarded. There's a massive clip that we're going to play about Jones and Aspinall and why that fight seemingly isn't going to happen. But I want to cover some other clips first with Jon Jones just saying weird things. This one was weird.
But what it shows me is our boss's loyalty to his athletes. I mean, Stipe Miocic versus Francis back in the day. I mean, it had the whole world excited. Like,
back in the day. You just said it, back in the day. It's back in the day. Boss's loyalty. He's talking about because Stipe fought Francis, that's why he gets a title fight in 2024. Come on now. Come on, Jon. You can't bring valid claims. If Jon Jones was fighting Stipe and there wasn't a Tom Aspinall waiting in the wings, if there wasn't an interim belt, right? If it was just a fight that was a non-title bout, it's a legacy championship on the line, I'm not making this video bitching about it. But the fact is, I guess, does interim title mean number one contender? Or is it like, hey, let's just hand out trophies to the number one contender? Like, what are we doing here? What are we freaking doing here? It makes no sense to me. Let's keep listening. He's going to mention Ciryl Gane here.
No one could stop him. And myself, as a much older fighter, I came back and destroyed him.
No one can stop him. Say what you want about the Francis Ngannou-Ciryl Gane fight. Francis Ngannou did beat Ciryl Gane, so he was beaten by Ngannou. So he was stopped before. I guess no one stopped him. If you're talking about no one stopped him as far as finished him, okay, that's fair. He'd yet to be finished, but he did lose to Francis Ngannou before Jon Jones got to him. And yeah, I'll give Jon Jones his true credit. He looked super impressive in running over Ciryl Gane, but Gane admits himself he did not take MMA seriously until after that fight. And he's, got a notoriously bad ground game. One more clip here before we get to the juice.
Instructors are in their late 40s. And every year, these young recruits come around, and these men who are much older than them run laps around these boys. So I'm not naive enough to believe that age plays that huge of a factor.
Okay.
There's a lot of 20-year-olds that I can whoop their ass with right now.
Yes.
So
okay, age not playing a factor. So is he saying that's not why he's fighting? He's not fighting Aspinall because Aspinall's too young, but he's mentioned he can beat up 20-year-olds, but he's not fighting Tom Aspinall. Or is he using that as an excuse because some contract workers are strong in their 40s and run laps around 20-year-olds that he's going to fight Stipe? What side is he trying to defend? Is he saying he's the young guy fighting the old dude? Or is he trying to say that he's willing to fight the young talent? But he's not. He isn't. He's saying no to Tom Aspinall. And I'm just ready to jump to the big clip. I've been showing you other stuff to build anticipation, but I want to get to the juice of it all. The Tom Aspinall question. All right, we're going to get to it. It's right here.
Tom Aspinall's the guy that people want to see you fight, right? So here's the question. You're fighting Stipe Miocic, and I know you're focused on that fight. If you defeat him, as you're a 6-1 favorite to win the fight, if you defeat him, will you...
Did you see the Jon Jones gulp? I'm sorry for interrupting. You saw that gulp? You mentioned Aspinall. He got nervous.
You defend your belt against Aspinall, who has the interim title?
More than likely not. More than likely not. I feel like Tom Aspinall is...
That's how I feel. What do you mean, Jon? More than likely not. Tom Aspinall is the interim champ who's got more title defenses at heavyweight than you currently. Yeah, I know Jon Jones is a legend at light heavyweight, but it's a different weight class. On top of that, the the heavyweight division, there's not many title defenses normally. Aspinall with 2 more defenses of the interim title ties the title defense record. This is crazy that he has so blatantly admitted to not being willing to fight the number 1 contender at heavyweight. Meanwhile, we have the heavyweight championship going down next weekend. A fake heavyweight title, an illegitimate heavyweight title, and I'm doubling down on it even harder because Jon is 100% admitting to the fact that he is not willing to fight Tom Aspinall. It's crazy that in 2024, we're in the MMA circus right now like it's 2005. This shit going down in the modern era where the best are supposed to fight the best is abysmal to me. I hate it. I love Jon Jones, and I loved him throughout his whole light heavyweight run, and I was happy to see him win against Ciryl Gane at heavyweight. But damn, I am disgusted by his so openly ducking of Tom Aspinall, who's the next guy up. We're going to listen to more. I'm irritated.
I don't want to say nobody, but he just hasn't proven anything. He hasn't done anything. And I understand that. I mean, you want to.
What? He hasn't done anything? He hasn't proven anything? Tom Aspinall, 15-3 as a pro, 8-1 in the UFC, only loss is an injury loss, violent finishes in every damn fight, showing a well-versed skill set, one-of-a-kind heavyweight fighter, extremely quick on the feet, super competent on the ground, seems to be one of the most special heavyweights to ever grace the octagon. Period. Beating Sergey Pavlovich in the fashion that he did is a big win. Destroying Curtis Blaydes in the fashion that he did is a big win. Submitting Alexander Volkov with ease is a big win. Destroying Sergey Spivak in the way that he did is a big win. He's destroying guys that are relatively good. I mean, Curtis Blaydes, I'd say, is top 5, as is Pavlovich, as is Volkov. The only win he lacks at heavyweight is Ciryl Gane, but Gane ducked that fight. Gane didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall because he knew it was a horrible matchup. And he has, what's this? Is that a belt? Is that an interim championship? Does interim championship not mean temporary champ in waiting until the champion is ready to go and then you are the next one in line? What the hell does interim mean then? Champion B? Other champ? What are we talking about here?
His belt against Sergey. Sergey just got slaughtered by someone else. So it's just like, I'm not here to...
Sergey got slaughtered. He got dominated by Volkov, who got absolutely destroyed by Aspinall, just to silence the bullshit.
To gamble someone else making a name off of me. I'm here to...
Isn't that fighting? You have to put yourself on the line against the next contender on the come up if you're going to have a championship around your waist. If you don't want the title, vacate it. Okay, Tom Aspinall fights someone else. You don't have to worry about it. And you're just doing legacy fights. You don't want to fight Tom Aspinall. Well, then he needs to have the actual belt. Because as a champion, ducking the interim champ / number 1 contender should not be allowed. And I'm not standing for it. Neither should you. Neither should you. None of us should. This is absolute bullshit.
Compete against the guys where when we look back, 10 years from now, it'd be like Jon Jones fought this guy and that guy and this legend and this champion and this champion.
What are you talking about? But you didn't fight Aspinall. That's the guy we're all going to be talking about 10 years from now. Saying, what if he would have fought Aspinall? Oh, wait, did he fight Ngannou? No, he didn't fight him either. No, Ngannou ducked me. Bullshit. So you don't fight Ngannou. You don't fight Aspinall, but you'll fight a 42-year-old Stipe. Okay.
If there were to be a fight of a guy that's still on our UFC roster that would be not only financially worth it, but legacy worth it, it would be Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira and I, we both 37.
Light heavyweight champ.
Both are 37. He wants to get Alex Pereira. Wow. It's a great fight between him and Pereira, but you damn sure better be vacating this heavyweight belt, and you will never be able to outrun the claims that you ducked the best heavyweight talent we have ever seen, Tom Aspinall. I don't care. He said, okay, I'll fight Pereira. Pereira's a dope fight. That's cool. That's awesome. I would love to see it at light heavyweight. Sure, let's cut back down. If we're doing it at heavyweight and Tom Aspinall is going to, have 2 title defenses, 3 title defenses by then? Jon's out another year. Tom Aspinall, 3 title defenses as the interim champ. What the hell is going on? What the hell is happening? I would rather the UFC just throw Jon Jones a legacy championship, some gimmick belt. At this point, let's just do the gimmick and run with it. And yes, the Pereira fight is legit. I'm not saying it's not a massive fight. And I'm not saying I'm not intrigued by the matchup. But what I am saying is when you hold an undisputed title, it is your duty, okay? Double down it. Duty. You must fight the top contender. Not just any fight that you want. Left here, left here, left there. Especially when there's an interim championship being held by that top contender. Now we're in fucking Looneyville. This isn't what the UFC's built on. It's built on the best fighting the best. This is some boxing shit.
Yeah, we're both 37 years old. Right now, I weigh about 235. I'm an incredibly light heavyweight. I think Pereira walks around at 240. And I think that fight would go much farther on my legacy than a young man who's cool today and maybe gone tomorrow. I remember
cool today and maybe gone tomorrow? He holds a belt in the fucking weight class that you're the undisputed champion. Oh my gosh, the things he's saying. The UFC fumbled. If they were planning on doing this, the UFC should have never, ever gotten Tom Aspinall near an interim belt. Because then it would delegitimize my claims, right? Then you could argue against it. But the fact that he has a belt that means you're the top contender makes it real hard to argue with the fact that I'm right. Yeah, the Alex Pereira fight's dope, but you better vacate the heavyweight belt then. What are we doing? Oh, now Pereira's going to go up? So Tom Aspinall just waiting on the sidelines again? This is just murky water. This is shit. This sucks. I feel for Tom Aspinall. He's been begging for the fight. And before I jump to the next clip, which is a disgusting comparison of Tom Aspinall to a washed, well, I guess he's not washed, but a bust of a prospect at heavyweight. Look at this. Firas Zahabi, legendary MMA coach. I was in his live chat yesterday, and I asked him about the Jon Jones and Stipe fight. And this was his answer about Tom Aspinall, the first thing he mentions. Listen.
Tom Aspinall really wants to fight Jon Jones. He's asking anybody who will listen, why am I not fighting Jon Jones? And that's a good question. I don't know why he's not the one fighting Jon Jones. You have the interim champion. You have the champion. It's like, what's going on here? Why aren't they fighting? Very difficult question to answer.
So, legendary MMA coach Firas Zahabi agrees it's nonsensical that Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones isn't going down. This is the world we're living in. But we got more to listen to. This ain't over. This ain't over because it gets worse. This is the worst part of it all right here. Look at this comparison.
a time when the whole world thought Johnny Walker was going to be the guy to beat me. And no disrespect for the Johnny Walker, but I mean, we all have seen the way his career's played out. I've just been here too long to get all excited about someone who's hot today.
Oh, Johnny Walker? He was supposed to be the guy to beat you. Did Johnny Walker earn a title fight and become a number one contender? No. He got knocked out by Corey Anderson. No. You can't compare Tom Aspinall, the sitting interim champ, to a Johnny freaking Walker. Love you, Johnny Walker. You're fun to watch. But there's zero conversation to be had about the level difference. Aspinall is incredible. And anybody who's witnessed him fight sees that he has tremendous skills. And he is seeming to be the best heavyweight on the planet. And him and Jon Jones is a marquee fight for the heavyweight belt between the new generation and the old. I get why Jon wants to duck it, because he's fighting a guy taller than him. Remember the trouble he had with Gustafsson? Even with Dom Reyes? The first time with Gustafsson. And a guy with power and a guy with grappling. It's a horrible matchup. We'll vacate the heavyweight belt, do some gimmick title for this one, the Legacy Championship, and then go fight Alex Pereira. And then no one's going to be sitting here making these type of videos, digging into the fact that you're ducking Tom Aspinall. That's exactly what's happening. And Firas Zahabi agrees without saying too much.
I'm here for legacy. I've been gambling for way too long to just take random fights.
Well, I'm part of
Tom Aspinall's a random fight, guys. Tom Aspinall's a random fight. Isn't that something? Tom Aspinall, according to Jon Jones, is a random fight. The interim champ's a random fight. The most talented heavyweight in this generation, random fight. That's a disgrace that he said that. But I know he has to. Jon Jones has to. He can't say, yeah, well, Aspinall really does deserve it. No, he can't back away from the side that they've chosen to ride with. The UFC has stood firm on discrediting Tom Aspinall, who is tremendous. I'll keep on hyping him up. The interim champ. And they've given him no respect. And we're going to play just one last clip at 12:40, which is Jon Jones kissing up to the man Dana White. Let's listen.
For him to say, hey, listen, guys, trust me. I know what I'm watching. I know what I'm looking at. And in my opinion, if Jon was the same size as a lot of these other guys, Jon would be in the mix. I think we have a lot of new fans, a lot of younger fans who, our sport can be very, what have you done for me lately? And I think Dana is doing a great job of saying, hey, let's wait a minute. Let's remember what this guy's done.
Pound for pound status he's talking about. Pound for pound number one. It's based upon activity. It's not about what you did in the past. Jon Jones is GOAT number one. I'm not sitting here arguing that, but pound for pound is completely different. Pound for pound is based on how often you're fighting too. How dominant have you been as of late, not how dominant you were in the past. So, talking about Dana White, knows what he's watching. Yeah, Jon Jones, you can say he's the best fighter ever. I will too. GOAT Jon Jones, absolutely. I watched his whole light heavyweight run. The difference between me and maybe some newer fans, right, is I watched Jon Jones since the early days. When he finished Matt Hamill with elbows, that's a fight I saw live when he got DQ'd there. And I said, this guy's incredible. He's going to make a run to the top. And he did. And he's a masterful fighter. Best thing I've ever seen. But I hate that he's not fighting Tom Aspinall. I hate that he's doubling down on fighting Stipe. And if you're going to have an undisputed belt around your waist, I think it is your duty for the sanctity of the sport to fight the next contender on the come up, especially when they have an interim belt. It really waters down the legitimacy of the UFC heavyweight belt when you dodge the number one guy for legacy fights. And the UFC is kind of enabling Jon Jones to do it. Maybe they're intending on putting together Pereira and Jones for the simple fact that they're looking for a marquee ticket that's going to sell, and it definitely will. But Pereira's also got to deal with Magomed Ankalaev, who's his next challenger. The fight game is not built simply on super fights. The fight game is built on the most deserving challenger facing the champion to find out who's truly best. And that is what makes MMA so pure, and that's what keeps us coming back. And that is why MMA is so superior to boxing, specifically the UFC, because consistently, the best fight the best. Now, as of late, to be fair, boxing's gotten a bit better since Turkey Al-Sheikh has started running things. But normally, boxing is best fights number 10 in the world. You're dodging the champ for 5 years. That's not how things typically go in the UFC. And I hope that we are not entering an era of ducking the number one contender on the come up, because that would definitely shame the sport. It would make me very sad as an absolute hardcore of hardcores. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. This one was actually really fun to make. I'm passionate about this. I was pissed during the video. I won't lie to you. You could see from my face I was angry at a few moments, but I'm okay now. I'm actually feeling jolly again because I let everything out, right? This is a very based rant from me where I had to just let my anger and channel it. I had to channel the anger into the video, and, I feel better about it after ranting. I'm still upset. I'm still annoyed that this is actually our reality, but there's nothing I can do simply besides putting out my opinion to the masses, and you guys can, help us push back, and maybe the UFC decides you're right. AJ's right. MMA Expert is right. The channel is right. The subscribers are right. We need to make the best fight the best again, and let's make the UFC great as it's always been. Let's not push us to an era of gimmick titles and avoiding the number one contenders and super fights. I like a super fight here and there, but I like the true top talent in each weight class fighting against one another even more. Thanks for watching, guys. Smash the likes on your way out. And if you're new, subscribe it up. Much love to the people, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let me know what you thought in the comments. W's in the comments if you got nothing to say. Peace, everybody.